Hey people, I'm just here to break down a few things with you. I, as you know, am an astrologer, and I look at people in a way of more like alchemy than I do anything else, more so than race, more so than anything. And men tend to have an alchemy of their own. Women tend to have an alchemy of their own. And when looking at charts, my sister and I, we were talking about relationships, marriages, and things like that. And I was saying, people are always saying what makes a strong marriage. And everybody says all of these things. And from my observations and experiences, what makes a good marriage is being the right person and being with the right person. That's it. That's it. When you're the right person and you get with the right person, regardless of what happens in the relationship, you're going to be together. Okay? And this goes for friendships. When you have friends and you realize that you never were friends with that person and that person always harbored feelings of ill will towards you, if you look a little deeper at the alchemy of the two people, you will see where circumstances brought them together, but not necessarily the connection of the heart brought them together. And the connection of a heart happens at a very alchemical level, and it mixes like you mix to bake a cake. If you are baking a cake, there are certain ingredients, even down to the type of pan that you use, that will determine whether that cake turns out right or not. You're talking about the right temperature in and outside of the oven. You're talking about the right mixture of eggs and sugar and butter and whatever else goes into it. And you're talking about the right pan and the right way you're going to get the cake out of the pan in order to make this cake. And relationships are often that way. So the right person, the baker, the right ingredients, the right and a lot of the times we take those things for granted. Now, can incompatible people make relationships work? Yes, they can. It's only the only difference is the amount of resistance. Like you can see some couples and it may have taken them 20 cycles, meaning 20 years to perfect their cake. And then you see some people who get the cake right on the first bake. And that is the difference between being the right person with the right person, and two people that are not really for each other, but have figured out a way to make things work. And so when you think about alchemy and you think about women represent water and earth. Feminine energy basically represents the water and the earth. And the masculine energy often is represented by fire and air. And when you think of those elements together, on a energetic level, you can look and see how people feel towards each other and in a relationship. Now, in astrology, when you look at somebody's chart, you'll see one person and then you'll see another person's chart, one person's chart and another person's chart. And when you see these two charts, you can put them together and create a composite chart. When you create a composite chart, this becomes a whole nother entity. That is why two people can get together or one person can get with one person and create one type of entity, and that same person can get with another person and create another type of entity. Also, it explains the dynamics of family, because I deal with the dynamics of family. Anything that I talk about in regards to a relationship, I also talk in regards to family. I also talk in regards to friendship, because basically it doesn't matter the type of French relationship it is. What matters are these alchemical mixtures that come together that create a good relationship or a bad relationship, or an easy relationship or a difficult relationship. And depending on what you're here on this planet to learn will determine the relationships that you're drawn to. If in your past, whether it be a past life or your childhood, you had a very difficult childhood, most of the people that I see that have very difficult childhoods often grow into very rewarding relationships, because they've learned lessons early. But I find that people who have had very good childhoods often have struggling relationships, because there are lessons that they too need to pick up. And so when you think about resistance in a relationship, you also have to think about going to the gym and lifting weights. You cannot lift weights and build muscle without resistance. And so when you think of having a hard time in relationships, think about the muscles that you need to develop in order to master this life, because you're not really here to fall in love, and you're not really here to find the love of your life. You're not really here to have all this money and all this. You're not here for that. Those are rewards, and those things are nice to have. But what you are here to do is to complete the cycle of yourself. You are here to master yourself. You're here to learn the art of who you are and to live to your full potential, and to learn all of the life lessons that have been assigned to you. And some people can learn this in one relationship. Some people take cycles of relationships, because relationships teach us who we are. That's why I don't necessarily agree with saying, oh, you need to take a break from relationships in order to heal. Well, you need to take a break from relationships in order to understand what went wrong in the last relationship. But healing never really takes place in life. You're constantly no one is ever healed. Everybody is always a work in progress. So I don't care how together somebody looks like they are. I don't care how well they look like they're doing in their relationship and their life. They're not healed. What has happened is that they are able to work through their wounds within the relationship, and a relationship is a constant mirror. So if you've noticed that your life is so peaceful when you're by yourself, and you swear you got it all together and you're ready to get in a relationship, and then as soon as you get in a relationship, all of your issues come back, then that lets you know that not that you're not ready for a relationship. It just lets you know that you're going to have to work through those triggers that relationship brings about, if you want to have that relationship, if you want to be married. Now, I am one who, if you look at the title of the group, it says I am the bridging the gap between males and females, or men and women, by becoming a better self. At the end of the day, it's all about becoming a better self, okay? But it's not necessarily all about being by yourself, because I think you need to bounce yourself off of other people in order to see where you are, because you're going to energetically attract the people that are on your level, on your frequency, that are going to reflect to you where you are in your healing journey. Now, for those of you who have actually found the right partner, for those of you who are the right partner and you are with the right partner, okay, your reward has come. Your reward is here. You have done the work in some place in your life where you are able to actually get that. Okay. So for some other people, their destiny may be different in this life. Their destiny may be something else. If you notice, a lot of the ascendant masters, and you look at their life, many of them aren't married, okay, because they have a different destiny in life. So everybody's goal or everybody's reward isn't marriage. Everybody's goal is not marriage. Everybody's desire is not marriage. For some people are married to a cause. Some people are married to their career. Some people are married to their children. Some people are married to other things in their lives. And when you look at life in the grand scheme of things, and look at how so many people are used to bring so many things to fruition, you will notice that not one cookie cutter way of being is going to fit. And so I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about the importance of men helping men and women helping women, leading women, but then also for women to be able to listen to men and men to be able to listen to women. And I remember hearing a man, I remember asking my sisters, I was like, why is it that men don't ever tell other men that they are out of line, that they are wrong? Like, in general, you just don't hear that. And I heard this man talking on TikTok, and he said that it is not another man's place to put a man in place. He said the only time I feel the need to put a man in place is if he's coming off a certain kind of way to my woman. To my woman. Now, as those of you who know me know that I have a problem with people who get in their relationships and then they only apply good living to their relationships. Meaning that if you're married or if you're with someone, you have a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever it is that you decide to do, and you open doors for them, or you help them pick up something that's heavy, or you help them do something, you help them out. But yet when you see another female who's struggling to pick up something and you don't want to help her, or you are with a woman who says you better not touch her bag, or you better not help open that door for her, you better not do, this is a false sense of charity. This is a false sense of generosity. This is a false sense of community. This is a false sense of what it is that we're actually here to ascend to do. Okay, because as below, so above, or as below, as above, so below, as within, so without. Well, as what happens in your nucleus, so what happens in the community. And I think because we have gotten stuck in the idea of romantic relationships and only stopping there and not extending ourselves into the community, we have missed the opportunities to have mentorship and unity and help among, people in general. And if you get a partner, if you're blessed to get a partner and you're hogging them because you are afraid of losing them, I will tell you this. You're going to lose your partner anyway. No two people die at the same time unless you die in a car wreck or plane crash. I've seen lots of loves who have become strangely dependent on each other, and one of them dies, and then the other one withers away. And it's a sad thing, because were you really here to master to your full potential, or are you just stuck in this glass bubble of a relationship? When you are ascending to be the best version of yourself, you are able to move in and out of committed relationships, into the community, into your friendships, into your familyship, and everything is connected. Everything is a part. And of course, your relationship is sacred, and you're not going to let any of those things come in and destroy that. But at the same time, a healthy relationship is being able to intertwine in and out of that. In and out of that bubble. And the relationship is to minister and edify yourselves as well as others. When I look at that third entity that relationships create, often what I find in successful relationships is that that third entity creates an energy that both parties approve of, meaning that I like who I am when I'm with you, and or she likes who she is when she's with him or her, and he likes who he is when he's with him or her. And it's the same thing with friendship. I can be around certain friends that I have, and some of them bring out these great qualities. And then there are other friends that I have that may grate my nerves. Okay. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is an overall issue with the friendship. It just means that there are certain areas of resistance. Star, sit down. Sit down. I have puppies out there, and she can't go out there, so she's in here being very distracted. Star is only about 7 months old, so she's just a tall standard poodle who thinks she's a lap dog. So when you think about these things, it helps you understand the dynamics within your family. You know, how can 6 kids grow up in one family with the same parents, and every single child has a different relationship with the mother or the father? There are some children that are born with an easy aspect of the parents, and then there are some children that are born with a very resistant aspect of the parent. This is called your lens, what you see people through. And when you can actually see that in somebody's chart, it gives you a perspective, right? This lets you know that there really is no out there. There are these different perspectives and projections that we have in here that are shooting out there and throwing things back at us, okay? And then we are getting this information. Well, the information you're actually receiving is the information you're projecting. If you're looking at everything with a racial eye, you're going to get back racial information. If you're looking at everything with a loving eye, you're going to get back loving information. If you're looking at everything with the critical eye, you're going to get back critical information. If you're looking at everything with an angry eye, you're going to get angry information. Okay. Every now and then something different is going to try to interrupt that pattern. And if you're not able to break that matrix of looking at things only the way that you see them, and you're not able to adjust your sight to see something different, then that means that typically you're living in your chart or below your chart, right? And so when I'm coaching people, I try to get them to live above their chart, meaning that you're not a slave to any of the influences that you see around you. You're actually above those influences of racism, sexism, politics, education, entertainment, all of those things that we have coming at us on a regular basis. And when you're able to do this, then you can exist in a slightly acidic or resistant relationship and make it successful. Okay, this is for those who have not found the right balance as far as a partner, because I notice that people are looking for that right balance, that fairy tale, and I'm not saying that that doesn't exist. What I'm saying is that if that's not what you're finding in this lifetime, that may not be your lesson, because if you're here to acquire discipline and character, and you're here to exercise certain muscles that you're not used to exercising so that you can increase your strength overall and not always go with what's familiar, then you may be attracting partners that are going to sharpen you in those areas. And if you look at it like that, then you open yourself to a broader pool of people without necessarily rejecting them. But the issue is that some people don't really know why they're here. They don't know what lessons they're here to learn. They don't really have a set agenda as to what they want to accomplish in a relationship. And therefore, they're aimlessly walking around trying to say, I just want to be in a relationship. I just want to be married. I just want to have children. That's understandable for a 20-year-old, a 16, 17, 18-year-old. But it's a very difficult thing to live by when you're in your 30s and you have all this experience under your belt and you're not using it at all. You're just thinking, oh, if I get married, things are going to, my life is going to be complete. And I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. Also, do not be jealous of people who have found their life partner. That is nothing to be jealous about. Don't be jealous of people who are married, okay? And most of us who've already been married, done that, we understand the work involved, and it's, we get it, and we're not jealous. We kind of understand, that's not something that always comes with easy. That's not something that always comes easy. But those of you who have never been married and don't have any children, understand this. When you get married, you are merging your karma with their karma. Now, people use karma very loosely, but basically karma is just spiritual debts. Dharma is spiritual credit. Okay, so you're gonna have these debts and these credits. Now, just like you marry somebody who has lots of money and who knows how to keep their money, they're in a surplus. When you marry them, you marry that. Well, when you marry somebody, you also marry their spiritual debts and surplus. Okay, so and they marry into yours. Okay, so, and when you have children, you mix that up. And we're talking about generations and generations and generations and generations of this stuff that can come out in your children. So you have to be really careful who you partner with, who you have children with. This is so critical. You can't just say, I want children, and you grab somebody out of the sky and you make babies. This is creating debt and surplus that you may not even know about, right? And when your children have to deal with certain things that you never thought of possible, you're going to be like, okay, where did this come from? This certainly doesn't run in my family. Oh, this is a generational thing that's been going on and on. It's working its way through our children. So I always say, don't be envious about people who have found that partner, because if you use that to make you rush into a relationship, you will be signing up for lifetimes of things that you may regret. So when someone doesn't get married, a lot of their generational curses are going to stop with them. When someone does get married, then they take on that person's generational issues. When they have children, their children take on those generational issues, and it passes and it goes and it goes and goes. That's why we speak a lot about knowing what those issues are and being able to rectify them in the moment. This is what your daddy, your granddaddy, your great granddaddy did. But this, you don't have to necessarily do that. Now, a lot of people don't talk about those things. We're in a place now where we're talking about what people bring to the table in terms of their bank account. You need to know what people bring to the table in terms of their mental health. You need to know what people bring to the table in terms of their sexual history, not who they have slept with, but have they been molested as children? Okay, that's super important because molestation brings on a whole different vibe. Remember when I talked about when two people when one person is together, is by themselves, and another person is by themselves, and they come together and they create an entity? When a young child is molested, they're wide open. When they are invaded by another person, they've created an entity. That child is in a relationship with that entity because usually that person is long gone. That child is struggling with the entity that person came and created with them. That child cannot necessarily let that go, and that is why childhood sexual abuse is so potent and it needs to be dealt with. And usually when people have childhood sexual trauma, what happens is that entity that they wrestle with can create mysterious illnesses in them, can create mental imbalances. And it will not be of that person. It will literally be this shadow energy that they are not able to shake off of them, and they don't have anybody to teach them how to master that energy. Okay, there are certain things that you need to do in order to eliminate or integrate. It's up to you to decide how you're going to do that and what is more beneficial, elimination or integration. Okay, and it may be certain things from that shadow energy that is actually beneficial. And you have to be able to separate what's beneficial and what's not. And the problem is most people are marrying individuals with these shadows that come into their marriage. And they feel like there is another person in their marriage and they don't know who that is. They feel like they're not alone in the relationship. Especially if somebody gets really angry or sexually charged. There are moments in strong sexual activity where both parties can say, whoa, that wasn't me, that wasn't you, that was something else. There's something that you two are either creating, that third entity, or something someone else is bringing into the relationship. And I know this sounds ooh, but it's actually a thing, okay? And once you understand what that is, whether it be astrological or whether it be strictly from trauma, or whether it be from that person opening doors from too much masturbation and too much porn, because you can actually masturbate so much that you invite other things, or you can have such a strong relationship with porn, and people's energy within those are so strong that they can literally latch on to you. and they're hitching rides on you, and you don't even realize it, and you're bringing it into relationship. And it's not until someone becomes intimate with you that they say, something doesn't feel right with this person. We had a wonderful time, everything was great, but I felt something. And then if you talk to that person and talk to that person and talk to that person, or get to know that person, you'll find out that they are either addicted to porn, or they used to have an addiction to drugs and alcohol, and they picked up things along the way in their lives and they never got rid of them. And you're feeling those things standing in the between you and them. Okay, now this is where you can be the right person with the right person, but if they have not gotten rid of that energy, you will feel like you're not in a relationship with the right person. But what it is that third thing that has been created with that person before you even got there is stronger than that person. Okay, so think about people's lives and their experiences. If they haven't fully integrated or eliminated those energies, you're in a relationship with more than just one individual. Okay, and this is, I'm not talking about a split personality. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about literally it, because before we're solid, we are just particles. Before we're visible, we're invisible. We're just energy. And we've been given these bodies in order to encase this energy. But when somebody comes in and invades you, they leave their energetic print in you or on you. And if you're not able to forgive that person, if you're not able to confront that person, if you're not able to forgive yourself, and you're just carrying this around, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it can take over your life, your relationships, your jobs. It runs your whole life. Okay, so I want you to think about your relationships on a much deeper level. And those who have the right person and who are the right person, or the right person who's with the right person, there's nothing that you can really teach people about being in a relationship. The only thing that you can tell people is be the right person who's with the right person. Be the right person who's with the right person. That's it. Now, when you're trying to teach them how to deal with a difficult person, there is a principle in dealing with a difficult person. And one of the main things is dealing with a difficult person is that you can't engage their difficulty. All right. When you dealing with somebody who has anger issues, when they're angry, you can't respond to it. You literally cannot indulge in it. You cannot tango with it. You can't dance with it, and you can't respond to it. If you do, you have to respond to it in a way that soothes it, not rewards it. For example, I remember when I was out with a long-term partner of mine, and he wanted me to buy these stockings. And he was saying, making a big deal out of these stockings. And we literally had gotten into he got into an argument with himself about it, but he was being very, very adamant. And he was going back and forth with me so much, I just put my hand on him and looked in his eyes and said, "What do you need?" And when I did that, whatever that was in him sat down, and his shoulders went down, and he submitted. And a lot of the times people are not taught these skills, or either they don't have the discipline to have these skills. Okay. Now, some of us don't even want to do these things, right? Some of us are so fulfilled in our lives that we don't even want to do them, even if we know how to do them and to be in relationship, right? So I went through that for a long time where I was like, I don't even want to do it. I don't even want to do that, even though I know how to do it and I'm really good at it. Sometimes you just don't have a desire to do it, and that's okay. As I said, everybody doesn't want to go to heaven. Everybody doesn't want to be in a relationship. Some people have found their true love and they've either died, the person has died, or it ended on amicable terms and it's over. And some people are just totally satisfied. Some people have gone their whole lives and never found love and have found love in their 50s. I think that is so beautiful to have never really found it, and then you at least get to find it before you die. So romantic, right? So I want you to know that there is no, that you can write all the books and you can say all the things, but if the alchemy is not right, I honestly don't believe that in the long run that you can actually make it work. Even if you stay together, we tend to get, 50, 60, 70, 80 year anniversaries mixed up with healthy relationships. Longevity is not necessarily synonymous with health when it comes to relationships. There are people who know how to live in dysfunctional relationships. The human body and mind and soul is highly adaptable, and you can live under these conditions if you want to. But what you don't want to ignore is your body crying out to you and saying, this is toxic, this is toxic, this is poison, this is poison. We're getting sick. When somebody says you make me sick, that's a real thing. Some people, you can get with them and they can literally make you sick. And you will feel the need to stay with them just because you've made this commitment, or because they're your spouse or what have you, and you're literally dying inside. There are women who I know of that died of broken hearts. There are women who I know of that have been in terrible, loveless relationships and died with cancer eating them up inside of their body, and they never even told their spouse that they were sick because they didn't even think that their spouse cared, So we have to be very, very careful about who we partner with. We can't just partner with people for the hell of it, okay? Just because we don't want to be left out. We have to partner with people that are healthy for us, and at least people who we know we're going to learn from, grow from, become better people from, even if it's a little hard. I think some resistance is good. Okay, that means that you're able to evolve in that relationship. Okay, that means you're able to grow. So some resistance, some difference is good. I'm not talking about getting a perfect relationship here, because I don't think that that's necessarily possible. But you can get something that's perfect, that fits you in this lifetime, for your lessons, for your growth, for your evolution, for your generations to come, those types of things. So even though this was long, hadn't been on here in a while, I said I was going to start posting a little bit more. I hope that you understand the importance of merging with people, the importance of taking on other people's karma, their debt, their spiritual debt. The importance of taking on other people's trauma, with them having to bring in unresolved entities into the relationship, and you're falling in love with the person, but there's this third thing in there that's not in agreement with you all coming together. Okay, so even again, if you're with the right person and you find this to be happening, there needs to be some spiritual cleansing. There needs to be some coaching. There needs to be some understanding. Okay, are you going to integrate this thing? Are you going to eliminate this thing? In some cases, all of it can't be eliminated because it's attached to some very good things that this person actually needs. So you have to learn how to integrate it and work with it and dominate it and shrink it and make it something that works for you all and make it manageable. And you got to give it credit, for the power that it possibly can have, but always know that you're more powerful than anything. And that love can conquer all if it's truly love. Not control, but love. Love can conquer all. So if you don't truly love somebody, leave them alone, because the things that you gotta conquer is gonna require love. I'm not talking about being necessarily in love, but actually literally wanting the best for that person. So much so that you're willing to make sacrifices in order to make sure that that person has the best. So I hope that you have some input with this, whether you agree or disagree with some things. Great, put it down there. We'll talk about it, and I'll be back with some more stuff that we can dissect and get into. All right, talk to you later. Bye.